This conference will now be recorded.
Oh, okay. We have a little updated agenda here. I hope everyone has it. There was a request late in the day for Anthony Ingerson. Is he on the line? I have some phone call-ins. I don't know whose name are on them. Do we have an Anthony Ingerson? Well, we'll wait and see if he joins us later. The police report. Was there any questions on that? If there aren't any questions, can we move on? Terry, you're on, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay, Terry, it's all yours.
Okay, you all have a copy of my report. I did include some photos of our new village pickup, which was lettered last weekend, and Signtech did a fantastic job. It's a beautiful truck. We'll keep it in the best shape as we can, and I'm currently driving it, but it did come with a plow, so during the winter we can use it. And if one of the other plows breaks down, we'll still have that plow to take the place of another one. So I think it's a great purchase for the village. Actually, it will be paid for, and I've said this several times at other board meetings, it'll be paid through our CHIPS funding, and we pay for it in advance, and then we get reimbursed for it. So thank you again for approving that vehicle. I've got a lot of compliments on it. It's a beautiful truck, and I really enjoy driving it. Also, I've had some calls and questions about spring cleanup this year. We didn't do it last year because of COVID. We did pick up brush and stuff, but this year we do plan on doing it. I've spoken briefly with Superintendent Dorr from the town of Clayton Highway, and they always help us. They usually do the household end of it. So they will continue to do that, and that will be tentatively the week of May 3rd. We usually try to do it the week of or week before Mother's Day. If we keep it the same year or the same week every year, it tends to, people start to get the gist of when we're doing it. So, and I'll bring that up again as we grow closer to that, and I'll detail what we do take and what we won't take. Also, I see on the agenda we have an update on 613 Webb Street. That's the sewer lateral that was in question at the last board meeting. We are going to dig that tomorrow and repair our section of it. I did put a notice on, I had Joanne in the office put a notice to Savvy Citizen, and I believe it's on the village's website, about alternate traffic patterns. And it says from 7:30 to 3, but we're hoping it won't be that long, but we're tending to close that section off briefly while we are doing our repairs to that section of pipe. If there's any questions, feel free to call me. I'm available tomorrow, anytime. But it should go off without any problems. I'm anticipating.
You're going to make sure the homeowner's there, Terry, so they can see what's going on?
Well, I called her and I've notified her. Her contractor, which is, he can't be there. So we're going to do our section. There are routes on her side. My guys adamantly say there is an issue on their side and it needs to be attended to. We're going to do our section. I cannot guarantee that she's not going to have any more stoppages, but at least our section, we're going to put a clean out in, so we know that our section is going to be clear. So
okay.
This is, and we're going, and again, we've cameraed it a couple of times, and we do know there's a cedar tree there. There are roots in her section of line. So, but we'll take care of that tomorrow. Hopefully it doesn't take as long as I have the road closed off for, but if it does, at least we're prepared, and the public is also aware of it. That's pretty much everything that I have. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Yes, Terry, this is Joe Chrisman.
Hi, Joe.
One thing, we need to get the roof blocked off to the bathrooms. There was a bunch of people up there walking around today.
Okay.
I don't know if they tore the tape or what, but
Nah, it probably got torn off during the winter, and we've been up there looking at, because I've had some contractors looking at it. So yes, I will
Yep.
take care of that tomorrow, Joe. Thanks for bringing that to my attention.
also it come to my attention, the utility room between the bathrooms.
Yes.
Now, it gets damp down there, obviously, because of sweating of the pipes.
Yes.
Is there black mold on the sheetrock in there? And if there is, can we just remove the sheetrock on that
That's
side?
what we are going to do that, Joe. Yes, that's our plan.
All right, that's cool. That'll alleviate the sweating
Yep.
and airing out.
And I
Also-
don't really know the purpose of drywalling that section. I mean, it's just the utility room, and it really didn't need to be finished off. But yes, we're going to address that and take care of that. Thank you.
Yeah, it just keeps it aired out.
Absolutely.
And was there a reason why we did cold patch before the street sweeper went through?
Well, I wanted to get the street sweeper out and get some of the sand. Most of it was, John's pretty good at it, and in most cases he knows enough to pick that chute up, and you can go around that stuff and not hit it. I know he did pick up some of it, but my main goal was to get the majority of that sand off, and it was cooler, and we hadn't had cold patch yet, so it just didn't jive. But typically, you know what, Joe, I could put that cold patch in this month, and we'll go sweep next month, and it'll still come out. So it's basically those guys were just filling the bigger holes, and it's a tough situation.
Fair enough.
Well, I think too,
That's it
Jerry,
from-
you wanted to get the streets swept up as best you could for that deal on Friday. We had a lot
Yes,
of people
and that-
working on it.
Absolutely, and that was our main goal, is at least to get those areas swept up, and we did. That was very humbling, and what a tribute to a fine young man. And everybody did such a fantastic job organizing that in such a short amount of time. So the fire department should all be commended. Fire police, our guys, the town of Clayton Highway helped, Rec Park helped. So it was a team effort, and they all should be commended.
Does anyone have anything for Terry? Any questions for Terry? Oh, if not, Terry, you're all set.
Thank you.
Okay, wastewater treatment. We've got a lot of wastewater treatment people on the line. I don't know who wants to speak first. Would it be Carrie Tuttle, perhaps?
Sure, Norma. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time tonight. I just wanted to provide a couple updates. We have been working on the water and the sewer budgets, and we provided a draft to the village today, and we are planning on meeting with the village on Friday for their workshop. Norma, I wasn't sure, do you want me to run through some of the highlights of the budget tonight, or are we going to save that for Friday?
Let's wait until Friday, because that was let's do it on Friday.
Okay, sounds good.
Because I don't know, is Jeremy on the phone here? I didn't see his name. I was hoping he would be on tonight or for sure on Friday. If we can wait till Friday, I think that would be great. You could give them the good news, the rates aren't going to go up.
Right, no rate increases. That's the good news, yes. We also finished the annual EDU updates, and we've provided those to the village. So the notifications are ready to go out at any point in time that the village wants to get those sent out so that customers know, whether their EDUs are going up or down. Overall, we did have a pretty significant drop in the EDUs, likely due to the impacts on COVID and usage this past year. Also, I wanted to just make the village aware of a couple staff changes that we've had. Effective today, Megan Hervé is no longer an employee of the Development Authority. Star Carter and Rob Stevenson will be continuing to support our Clayton operations, and effective March 29th, which is next Monday, Thomas Haynes has actually accepted the position of water quality supervisor. So he will be on site full-time beginning next Monday, and we'll be working over the upcoming month of April to transition him fully in, and Star Carter will be transitioning out of Clayton. So I did want to just make sure the board was aware of that staff change. And those are the only updates that I had, Norma. I know Rob and Star want to run through the report, but just if there's any questions that the board has before we get into that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, sure. Are you going to talk to us, Rob?
Yes. The month of February, we had 0 speedies permit exceedances, and there were no sanitary sewer overflows. A collective effort between Aqualogics, the village, the authority, and Superior Computers found a couple of issues which led to the numerous communication failures between the wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant. Since the equipment's been replaced, the communication failures between those two locations have ceased. The water loss calculation for the past quarter is 13%, which is down 9% of the preceding months. And then it's not on the agenda, but I need board approval of the technical review of the Clayton Marina water and sewer connection applications. The authority reviewed the associated plans and details, and we approved the application for water with new verbiage. However, on the sewer application, additional verbiage of the grinder pump ownership, operation, and maintenance is the responsibility of the property owner. We need to have the board approval so the property owner can move forward with the connection.
Correct. All the board members got a copy of this plan, right, in your package? So you had an opportunity to read through it, so you understand all the things that had to happen, so we could make this connection. Do I have a board member out there that could make the motion to continue with this connection for Clayton Marina?
I'll make the motion.
And that is Steve?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Joe?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you, Joe. Is everybody on the board in favor of this? Nancy, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. That's fine. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Is anyone, so everybody's in favor of this? Is there anyone opposed? There's no one opposed. Will you get back to him, Rob, and tell him that this is a go?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll let pass it on to Star now.
Okay. Rob, when we got the letter from DEC about the annual inspection that they had, there was a special note on there to thank Rob Stevenson for your assistance during the inspection and for the tour of the facility. Said it went really well. So it's nice to be recognized, especially by
Thank you,
DEC.
Norma. Yeah.
You got anything else for us, Rob?
I don't, but I believe Star does.
Okay, yes, Star.
Oh, no, sorry. My updates we're going to be going through on Friday.
Oh, okay. All right. That sounds good. 9 o'clock Friday.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for the wastewater treatment plant? Are you all set, Carrie? Everybody?
Yes, I am, Norma, if there's nothing
Okay,
else.
thanks for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank
Okay,
you.
let's move down along to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions on items 1, 2, and 3? If not, can we have a motion to approve those, please?
I'll make the motion to approve 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you, Nancy. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Steve? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion's carried from 1, 2, and 3. Are there any questions on the capital projects? Item 4. If not, can we please have a motion to accept the capital projects? Item 4.
I'll make the motion to accept item 4.
Thank you, Nancy. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Joe?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so that is taken care of. Okay, under old business, Joe, have we got the fence issue all set on Union Street?
No, not yet. I haven't heard anything back. I know Mr. Ingerson was going to look at it and then get back with me. And the planning board, I believe, was going to go through their minutes and see if there was an agreement. And I haven't heard back either one.
Okay, we got to keep on top of it. I don't want it to fall off the ledge here.
Correct.
Okay. We have had some discussion briefly on 150th anniversary for the Village of Clayton in 2022. A week or so ago, I sent you out a draft proclamation, and since then, I sent out the one that has had some additions to it that came from the chamber, some local people, historian. So we need to read this into the minutes tonight. Do you all have that on your computer or something here? Because we need to have this approved so we can move forward and get together with the chamber. There's some action items on it to form a committee, so forth. So it's going to take a minute to read this, but it needs to be read into the minutes for the proclamation. Does anyone else have this up on their screen or a hard copy of it so you can help me read through here so I haven't got to read it all?
I do, Norma.
Okay, so I'll start out, and then do you want to take the first 3 for your ears, and then I'll pick up some and we'll get through this?
Sure, that would be fine.
Okay, all right. The Village of Clayton is approaching historic milestone year, the 150th anniversary of incorporation. We look forward to all-inclusive celebration with active participation by our entire community, from young school students likely to be here to celebrate our next milestone, to seniors who can look back with pride at our glorious past. The first 150 years have made Clayton a destination of choice for vacationers from throughout the world, while still serving, as an inviting family-friendly community for year-rounders and seasonal residents. While abundant in social, educational, athletic, fraternal, civic, public service, agriculture, and religious organizations, Clayton also boasts a prosperous business and professional community dedicated to serving both those who can call Clayton home and the many visitors we welcome every year. Clayton, where the tradition of hospitality continues, is the centerpiece of one of the nation's most beautiful settings, the incomparable Thousand Islands. The village takes pride in its role as a home of many firsts, from boats to snowplows, even a salad dressing that is broadcast across Thousand Island Maine worldwide. A storied list of friends and neighbors have made this mark in their profession and careers, both public and private, while proudly calling Clayton home. With that, it is fitting that a resolution celebrating our past while looking forward to a joyous and exciting future is introduced in honor of this prestigious occasion. So there are 11 whereases here, which have all come from various different people. And then we kind of boiled it all down and came up with these three. It's really hard to read this because the proclamation, it's actually, once it gets approved, will be on 11 by 17 paper. So it'll be bigger print, much easier to handle than this fine print. So Nancy, you want to give a shot at the first three?
Yes, I will, and please bear with me, everyone. Whereas the first known name given to the area around the present-day village was, and I apologize, it's an Indian term, so I can't even pronounce it, an Indian term for fallen fort, referring to an ancient fort on the banks of French Creek that was captured from the Algonquin tribe by the Iroquois and would later be known as Cornelia following the arrival of French settlers in the 1820s. And whereas the site of the Battle of French Creek during the War of 1812, which saw General James Wilkinson stage his army of thousands on the community's shore while the U.S. and British naval fleet faced off at Bartlett Point. In November 1813, before the U.S. troops would be proceeded downriver to encroach on Montreal. As history progressed, the border between the U.S. and Canada became open and welcoming, resulting in the formation of numerous national friendships and beneficial partnerships. And whereas the introduction of the railroad, which guided visitors directly to the river's edge, led to a visit by President Ulysses S. Grant, a personal guest of regular icon and railroad magnate George M. Pullman, generating extensive national and worldwide media coverage of the small picturesque community. And
does anyone else want to pick up on this? Read some? Okay, I'll give it a shot.
You do three, I'll do three.
Whereas history was made on Wednesday, on April the 17th, the day of the month in the year 1872, a vote was held resulting in a 140 to a 51 outcome in favor of Clayton, as it was renamed in 1831 in honor of U.S. Senator John M. Clayton of Delaware, officially becoming incorporated as a village. And whereas known as the birthplace of Thousand Island dressing, the first ever vehicle-mounted steel snowplow produced by Frank Snowplow, the St. Lawrence Skiff, and the original and longest-running antique boat show in North America. And whereas arts and culture have thrived, embedded in the community's roots with institutions in the village limits, such as the Antique Boat Museum, Thousand Islands Performing Arts, Thousand Islands Arts Center, and the Thousand Island Museum. The fabric of the community is uniquely represented through the creation of the St. Lawrence tartan, a beautiful plaid material designed by Helene Cobb of Clayton and sold for many years in her shop, Clan Woolens. The tartan, woven in Scotland, has since become the registered trademark of the Thousand Island Museum. The green represents the cedars along the region's shoreline, the blues represent the majestic St. Lawrence River, and the red is the glowing sunsets over the islands. And whereas advocacy is fostered here and installed through the work of Save the River and the Thousand Islands Land Trust in an effort to conserve the distinctive ecosystem and natural environment of the region. And whereas the livelihood of this community has witnessed the test of time dating back to the Great Depression, when Clayton Manufacturing Plant kept locals from financial disaster By maintaining a workforce, the coal docks and farmlands provided demanding physical labor that allowed residents to make ends meet, and today's economy flourishes with revenue generated to tourism, the boom in the wine and spirit industry, and exquisite dining. You want to give it another shot, please, Nancy?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas our community commemorated the first 100 years in 1972 with village-wide jubilation. The centennial anniversary was a showcase by locals during an era with no cell phones or iPads, but rather prolific community pride and spirit that led to the purchase and dedication of what is now known as Centennial Park, located on the water's edge where visitors can gaze at the beautiful sunsets while reflecting on life. And whereas the creation of a committee will commence the planning and execution of a historic celebration of the 150th anniversary of the incorporation of the Village of Clayton and all of the community's attributes. And said committee is to consist of village board members and local leaders, at-large citizens, the village historian, and the Clayton Chamber of Commerce. And whereas Watertown Savings Bank will establish a fund to accept donations and fundraising dollars in support of the celebration, and will contribute the initial pledge of $1,000 from Carrie and Janet Brick of Riverside Foundation. Therefore, be it resolved that Norma J. Zimmer, Mayor of the Village of Clayton, along with the Village of Clayton Board of Trustees, do hereby proclaim the year of 2022 as the 150th anniversary celebration of the Village of Clayton, and encourage residents, both full-time and seasonal, past and present, to recognize the contributions our community has made throughout the region, as well as our personal lives, to express gratitude to all who have contributed to our rich history and culture, and to thank those who continue to find ways to give back to our community to ensure it will prosper for another 150 years.
Thank you, Nancy. A lot of this information came from the historian. He did a lot of work on this, and Alan Venus helped us out because he was the chairperson of the 100 celebration. So that's where a lot of this came from, and Lori Marr helped us out with getting the words in all the right places. So there's been some activity on this already for getting this first step taken that we had to do to get it off the ground. So Joanne, do you want to take a roll call vote so we can get this authorized and signed? And I'll take it to the chamber, and they're going to kind of focus on getting this thing pulled together. We just gotta get this one step behind us. So would you do that, please, Joanne?
Yes, no problem. Mayor Zimmer?
Yes.
Trustee Hyde?
Yes.
Trustee Chrisman?
Yes.
Trustee Bedore?
Yes.
And we don't have Jeremy yet. Okay. There's one other item here that we received a letter from the Brick Riverside Foundation addressed to the board. And it is quite long, but I'll give you the highlights of it, that they were excited. They were making plans to note the 150th anniversary of the Village of Clayton. And they hope that the celebration will be a year-long effort to encourage the participation of both year-round residents and the tens of thousands of summer people who for generations have come to adopt Clayton as their second home. Combined, there is one big family of river people, and there could be opportunities for everyone and everything, students to seniors, boaters, fishing guides, river walk, shore dinners, tall ships, water skiers in the summer, ice sculptures, snowmobilers, so to share all this experience. So their experience, they used to live here in Clayton, and they're very enthusiastic about this project, and they're hoping that we can kind of put the scrounge of COVID-19 behind us, and their first pledge of $1,000 towards this celebration will start off the fundraising to make this event happen. So we would need to send something to the BRICS to get this financially off and started, and they congratulate the board for the planning, and can be an exciting time for the entire community. So this letter will be issued for a press release, and once we get the draft off the proclamation, we'll put that out there for a press release. So there was quite a lot of effort from several people that made the things happen. So appreciation for the first $1,000 and for all the effort gone into the proclamation. Thank you. Okay, Joanne, it's all yours.
Okay, first I'd like to officially, I would like to officially say that I received the tentative budget on March 17, 2021 for these minutes. And the second one is I'd like to officially introduce the local law number 1 for the tax levy limit. And that will be on Friday's workshop meeting, we will set a public hearing. And then there's a resolution 2021-5 to adopt the Village of Clayton Police Reform Task Plan. And would you like me to read that? Hello?
I turned my mic off.
Oh,
Yes, please,
okay.
could you read that?
Yes, I will. Whereas on June 12, 2020, Governor Andrew Cuomo signed Executive Order 203 requiring local municipalities with police departments to develop a reform plan based on community input. And whereas the Village of Clayton held a public forum for residents to provide input on the police department and conducted a survey on the community's interactions with the police department, which was completed by over 100 residents. And whereas the draft police reform plan that was developed has taken into account all of the above feedback, and whereas the Village Board of Trustees held a public discussion on March 8, 2021 to hear public comments on the Police Reform Task Force plan. And whereas following the public discussion, the Village Board reviewed the action items proposed by the plan, and whereas the Village of Clayton trustees support the draft plan. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby adopts the Village of Clayton Police Reform Task Force Plan, and be it further resolved that certification of such plan shall be transmitted to the State Budget Director as required by Executive Order 203. So I will be taking a roll call vote for this resolution. Norma, Mayor Zimmer?
Sorry, yes.
Trustee Hyde?
Yes.
Trustee Bedore?
Yes.
Trustee Chrisman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne.
So the next, number 4, someone came in to apply for the 30-day advance notice for the new E&M Hospitality Group. It's not called that. It's going to be, I can't remember. I don't have my papers with me. But it's the new place on 590 Riverside Drive. And they're going to...
It's the old barber shop, right?
Yes, they're requesting a liquor license, the 30-day advance notice.
Yeah, I think the only action here is they have to bring it to our attention. We don't have to do anything about it.
Okay, so I'm bringing it to your attention then, and I will
Yeah,
send out the
you've done
letter.
your job.
Okay. So number 5, water sewer bill account number 1207. You guys have the paperwork I gave you. Both of these, and water sewer bill account 957, both of these, they have called and they wanted me to present to the board that they want their penalty charges removed.
And does any of the board members have any input on this?
Well, I talked to the Durs, and they don't know what happened because their check was written in their checkbook as addressed to the village, and but it's never been cashed. And they've written checks after that, so it's I don't know what happened there, and they don't. So they're willing to pay the bill, just that they don't know what happened, and they just want the late charges gotten rid of.
Oh, they both represent good payments prior to this. This is just something, I don't know whether it was winter, it was COVID, what happened. All they need is for this to happen is somebody on the board to make the motion to waive these late charges. We should do them separately, like account number 957. Does anyone want to make this motion?
Well, wait, I'm not confused per se. I just don't know who is, wait, hold on. I understand one of them, but the other one from Arizona, I don't understand.
So Nancy, for account number 1207, she said that she made a mistake online and she didn't push the button to submit it. So that was a mistake on her part, I guess. And the other one, I did not receive the check, but they said that they did write the check and put it in the box. It was never cashed. But my thinking too is if you do your checkbook and balance it, then you'd notice that check wasn't cashed until, way before these new bills went out. But that, and that's what I, had said to her, but she wanted me to present this to the board.
I guess my take on it is that we have two customers here that have been good paying customers. Something happened and didn't go through this time. I would suggest that we waive these two, make this as a one-time deal. Don't come back and ask us to do it again.
I
If I can
agree
get
with
any
that.
support from the board.
I agree with that statement also, Norma. I'll do
I
it
do too.
this one time, but I have to agree because we've had other situations that, come on, look at your checkbooks, look at things. So I agree with you, Norma, one time only.
Do we have any support from anybody else on the board?
I agree with it.
We should waiver it.
Okay,
Between
so
the
we're going to
I don't have a
waive the
problem.
late charge on 957 and on 1207, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the board's approved those, Julian.
Okay, I'll make
sure in the minutes that
I-
it says this is a one-shot deal.
I'll make sure that they know, and then I'll have to do a transaction in the new software. I'll have to call and find out how to do that. Okay.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Joanne?
Boy, I hope not.
Okay.
No, I think that's it. It's all
Okay,
you
thank
now.
Okay. Budget workshop will be Friday morning at 9 o'clock, and I hope all the board members can be there so we can wrap up all the things that have happened since the first budget meeting that we had, and now this one, so that when we set the public hearing, that one will be the budget that'll be out there for the public to take a look at. See what they want to add or take out, okay? I sent you the local law for sidewalks, keep the snow off them. What'd you think? Joe Russell did it.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions on that, Norma. I read through the email. And
Did you send me an email
no,
or anything?
not
Oh,
yet.
okay.
I read through that proposal. One, I guess, why are we making it a local law? Two,
It has
why
to
are
be,
we,
Joe. That's not our, it has to be a local law to change the code. It was a
okay,
local law to establish it in 1985.
well, it's been going on 100 years or so, you said, that
No,
there, I believe you have, with the snow removal
I
issues.
think, Joe, what I said was the night that we talked about this, that we had 21 things that were talked about at the original meeting 150 years ago, and they were talking about snow removal then. And we've had
All right.
questions on snow removal numerous times. And so I asked the board if they wanted me to take this to Joe Russell and come up with a new law to amend the one that's in the code book now. That was the reason we went and had Joe write this up. It has to be a
Okay.
local law.
All right. But you jump it from $50 to $250. I'd like to know where he got the research I'd like to see the research behind the 250. And then there's also a term imprisonment,
I noticed that.
which doesn't sit well with me at all.
Joe, we set
And who
the rate
determines?
in the annual meeting, and the actual rate to have the snow removed is $50 now. The 250 is in violation of not doing anything. $50 is the fee that we established to have the snow removed. If it goes on, then you've got to start the process for the violation. That's in the code book now. It's the
Okay.
same figure that's in the code book now.
Okay, $50. I agree with that. But
You
how do
know,
we
though,
jump
we
at
should really think about it. If it's a corner lot, it should be more. Most of the
Okay, who
sidewalks are pretty
determines?
short here, but if you get a corner lot, but that's something we'll have to address at the next annual meeting.
Yeah, because I mean, who's going to determine whether it's a $50 fine that gets added onto the taxes or $250?
Now, the
Who
250
determines
is
that?
in total, but that's a process that you have to go through when you cite them for not complying and paying the $50. If you look in the code book, Joe, it's kind of explained how this all started out, and how it got revised in 1985.
Okay. I guess I'll have to go through the code book because I still don't understand the term imprisonment being put for not clearing a sidewalk. Or, I mean, sometimes people have a hard time, and we've been working with people. This just seems too harsh for me anyway. I mean, unless somebody can change my mind.
Well, Joe, you were complaining about people not shoveling your sidewalk.
It's not a complaint. It's called a concern. There's a big difference. I'm not
And I
complaining.
think it would be good to put it out there and get the public to say, I mean, we have numerous people that call and complain about sidewalks every year. So if you hold a public hearing and they don't want to do anything about it, then we'll continue the way we have and take the complaints. This is an opportunity for the public.
Is that email been out to the public yet?
No, we haven't done it. It went to you when I got it from Joe. I sent it to the board. We put it on here for discussion, and once you got to set a public hearing. It hasn't gone out to anybody.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you
I'm
don't
curious
want to
what the
carry it
response.
through, there's no sense of putting an ad out there and talking about a law that you aren't going to support. We can change it. I don't know what you'd like changed in it before we put it out to the public. Are there things that you really don't like?
And I got a question with the 24 hour thing. I was right in the middle of doing a sidewalk and the guys got done with their plowing, and then they came back and did the snowbanks and filled the sidewalk, and I was right in the middle of doing again. I mean, and they have to do it. It's the sidewalks on Jane Street are just a foot or so away from the curb. So if a contractor does a guy's sidewalk and then goes to another job, he might not be able to come back for another day, or might not know to come back for another day. So we're going to have to weigh these different situations out. Some sidewalks are feet away from the snowbank, and some of them right at the snowbank. So, you're going to have to take each sidewalk. Each sidewalk's different.
I guess I would like to see it up to publicly get responses before we vote on anything to adapt.
So do you want to set a public hearing and see what the public has to say, and we don't, get their input?
Yes.
And then go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
because
what
there's
you
a
wanna
couple. Yes, because there's a couple things that I would like to change in that before we do that.
Well, then why don't we get the law? Why don't you send to me what you'd like changed in it, or to the whole board, and get Joe Russell to get something different than what you have in front of you tonight before we go to the public with it?
I'll do that.
Okay, so
I'll
we're
do
not
that
going to
this
set a
week
public
for you.
hearing. We're going to have more discussion on this law, correct?
Okay.
So, excuse me, Nora, a question that I have is, what do we do about a business that does not pay taxes? So if they are fined for not keeping their sidewalk shoveled, but then they don't pay taxes, and then they don't pay, how can you put it on their taxes?
Good question. I guess it would be like the nonprofits. I mean, the property owner is responsible for the sidewalk. So
Well, yes,
I
I
don't know. I
understand.
haven't seen those.
And my problem with this law is twofold. That $250 or imprisonment, that bothers me.
Well, then
Along
let's
with,
take it out.
you
That's
have
in the
to
law
have it.
right now. That is in the code book right now.
Because I don't understand why it was changed from 24 hours to 12 o'clock p.m.
Well, because nobody
if
could
they're not,
establish when this event was over. Everybody had a different opinion of when the event was over. So if the snow event in somebody like DPW's mind is over at noon, then you're going to wait until noon the next day. That's a long time in my mind to get, but the board has got lots of questions on this. So I think you should all put them in. I'll start an email chain and get them in there, and we'll have a discussion before we put it out to the public, because we can't answer our own questions, so we aren't going to be able to answer the public's questions.
Agreed. And everybody throw your emails in there and your suggestions this week.
I mean, I hadn't heard from anybody until tonight.
and I don't disagree with what you want us to do, Norma. I think one of my other conversations is this new local law does not solve any of our problems with the sidewalks. All we say is that by 12 o'clock p.m., you have to have it taken care of, or there's going to be a $50 fine. And if you continue, then you get the $250 fine. But I don't think this is much different than what we currently have. We've never solved the problem of how do we get this taken care of.
Well, and then I think
And I
it's
don't
time
think
that we
having
come
a
up with a
local
way to
law,
solve the problem.
a local law will not solve the problem, because when we think about the local law for sump pumps, we still have that as an issue. So I'll put it in the email and we can discuss it further.
Okay, sure. Okay. On the historic district, Luck will be back Monday, the 5th, to start up for the season. And I had a very disappointing message from National Grid. I heard a rumor on the week ago that they weren't going to have the street lights here for mid-May. So I reached out to National Grid. I don't know if they would have ever got to us or not. They acknowledged the fact that they had made a mistake. They had not even ordered them yet. After all these conversations for the last 3 months, it was going to be mid-May. There was a communication lag at National Grid. We aren't going to have lights down there until June, mid-June. So that was pretty disappointing. But I can't do anything about that. They're obviously, I told them to send us something in writing, but they kept saying it was going to be mid-May, and now they're saying June. But I was really glad that we got the report back from somebody that National Grid they'd been in touch with National Grid to set up the time to get these lights installed because they were the contractor, and that's when it was discovered they hadn't even been ordered yet. And that was a week ago. There's going to be a blood bank at the municipal building. There isn't a date on here. I think it's the 17th, but I'm not sure, Joanne. But we want to keep that in mind. And on the audits, the comptroller's office was here last Friday. I don't think he's going to be coming back. He's got some things to wrap up. He's asking us to make sure. I know that we've got board members that haven't sent their conflict of interest back, and he needs that. So if you're aware of the fact you haven't sent your conflict of interest to the auditor, please do it. And in a couple of days, if he doesn't have it, I'll have to get the names and start chasing them out. Last week, the American Rescue Plan Act, they had a meeting at NICOM. And they don't have all the answers. Actually, they don't have a lot of answers, but they will keep us informed of what's going to happen. The money that the town got, the $397, 38.74% of that would be attributed to the village, and then they would get the rest of it. NICOM is trying to make it so that the town isn't a pass-through, that we would physically get the money and the town would get their portion. And this will be over a 2-year period. So get 50% this year and another 50% next year. But there's nothing to say that because we've got this federal money that the state won't start dinging us more or taking away CHIPS money, AIM money, sales tax money. They're hoping that that doesn't happen. But there's a few things that have got to be hammered out, so we're more comfortable thinking we might have another $200,000 in the next 2 years. But NICOM is really good at working with Schumer and Gillibrand, and we'll see what they come up with. But that would be good to get, but we're not 100% sure we'll get it. Only 50% a year, so we'll see how that all shakes out. This morning there was another meeting on the fuel depot, and there's a ton of questions. Nancy, you went the last time. They didn't have any answers. They didn't have much more to offer today. And I think the best way for us to work out this plan is for a joint meeting with the town and the village, and we're a little overdue in having that meeting. And I think it would make a great agenda item, and we'll talk about this fuel depot and how we can move forward as a town and a village, because we're not getting great answers. They had 5 or 6 options today, but they didn't have a dollar figure attached to them. So it's kind of hard to make a decision if you don't know how much money it's going to cost you. So I think, Nancy, do you have an update on the library?
Yes, they made their decision to do their own payroll and take care of their own insurance. And that, according to them, would be effective June 1 of 2021. And the library is open for business, for people to go in anytime.
Oh, great, great. Great. So does anyone else on the board have something they want to add?
Yeah, this is Joe Chrisman again. As we start kicking off the season and the store and shops are going to be open later, is there something we can do for lighting down there? Because these girls that close late at night have to go to their vehicles and stuff like that, and there's no lighting down there. It is really bad.
Well, have you got a suggestion?
I don't. It was brought up to me today. I went downtown and had lunch, and they were asking me when the lighting. I said May, because that's
Yeah,
the
well,
last
that
thing I
was
knew.
what they've been telling us all along, and it's
Right.
really been helpful that the businesses downtown have kept their lights on, and we are in daylight savings time. That's going to help. They were pretty blasé about the fact that we're sorry we screwed up, and you aren't going to have any lights until June. This is just one more incident of being tough to work with National Grid. I don't know how we get our lights turned on every night at home. I hope they've got somebody that's better at getting that kind of stuff done. I don't know how we can make it happen any sooner, Joe, other than the fact we can hammer at them every week to make sure that nothing, they keep saying they'll work on it, and they told us that they were going to try to improve the May date, and they didn't even go a step further to make sure they were even ordered. So I don't know how I
in the
can make them
meantime,
understand that this is a terrible
in the meantime,
situation.
is there
It's
something
not
we can
safe,
do?
and those solar lights are a false sense of security. They should come and take those out in my book. Don't even look decent.
Yeah, I agree with you. They provide no relief down there for light. And is there something that National Grid can upgrade those? You know, it's a concern for all these girls getting off so late. And I can't say all girls, but anybody. It's not a good situation. And it should be a concern of ours, you know, to have some kind of lighting down there.
Well, I guess I'm open for suggestions.
Is there something National Grid can upgrade it to, is what I'm, I guess, boiling down to, until our lights get here.
Okay. Does anyone else on the board have any questions or concerns? Did Anthony Ingerson call in? Is he on the line now? Okay. Anyone else out there in the public that would like to speak, have any questions? I guess my last word is to the board, don't forget Monday morning, 9 o'clock. Gotta hammer that out.
Friday morning at 9 o'clock.
Friday.
9 o'clock Friday morning, yep. Are we okay?
Yep, I'll be there.
Good, Nancy, thank you. Anyone
I'll
else
be
got
there.
any questions? If not, would somebody make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Nancy, okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, see you, talk to you Friday morning, 9 o'clock.
See you then. Have a good week.